Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, if we are here in Southern Africa, we are glad to say good evening and welcome to Hands On, our weekly program whereby we invite various people to come and talk to us about what they are doing in using their hands, in creating wealth, putting food on the table, and above all, leaving a legacy for their loved ones. My name is Noel Sibanda, and I'm glad to call on you. We're broadcasting live from Pretoria here in South Africa. And tonight, I'm privileged to have a special guest, a young lady by Lindogu Nyembe, all the way from Four Ways here in Johannesburg in South Africa. Lindo, good evening and welcome to Hands On.
Hi, Noel, and hi to everyone else that's watching. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for being here as our guest, tonight. And our viewers wants to know who is Lindogu Nyembe.
Okay, so Lindobuhle Nyembe is a 24-year-old from Four Ways. I am a middle child. I have an older sister and an older brother. I grew up in South Africa. I did my high school in a school in Cosmos City, which is a neighboring suburb to Four Ways. I then went to the University of Wits, where I did my undergrad in insurance and risk management, yes, with marketing. I then branched into my honors, which is what I'm doing right now in marketing.
Thank you so much, Lindo. Tell us more about, how has it been like growing up, in South Africa?
In Joburg, to be particular, this is a busy city, so things are fast here, things are moving. You also need to move with the times. But I think if it's all you know, then it's easy to adjust to it. There is no adjustment to it because you grew up here, so it's what you know. However, I realized that by going to varsity, you then meet other people that are coming from different provinces to come to Johannesburg, and that's when you realize that no, this is a fast life. So you either ride on with the wave or you get left behind.
And tell us about your school days, how hectic was it? Your friends and so forth?
Okay, so in high school was not bad at all. I'm not going to lie. High school was great, actually. The difficulties came in varsity. Look, you leave high school as an A student, you get there, and varsity shows you that, look, there's no A student here, you need to work. And I think if ever anything varsity taught me is that in order to get the results, you need to work for what you want. So, yeah, it's in varsity where my friends and I started a business, actually, Kanyisile and Melissa, because we were tired of being broke. So one thing about varsity is that varsity students are broke.
I know we're supposed also to have met Melissa today, but you are here representing all your two friends, Kanisa and Melissa. But tell us more, about, this Pathfinder thing growing up. How did it help you to fit in into the university? All the influence, peer pressure and so forth. How did you
One
manage
thing,
to survive the varsity life?
look, when you grow up in an Adventist setup, you are taught values that are instilled in you, especially in the Pathfinders. We were taught a lot of values, small things like respect. We were taught about peer pressure. We were taught about what is out there in the world and what it is that we need to go out there and be. So when I got to university, there was obviously a lot of pressures around, a lot of friends. You get to meet a lot of different people because now you're in a setup where, back in high school, all your best friends are you meet them in church, you're with them at school, but now you get to varsity and everyone has branched out into different things. So now you're meeting new people, you're meeting different people from all avenues of life. But one thing I can say is that being in Pathfinders helped me to stay grounded and true to who I really am. So, yeah.
And it's exciting to see what you started at the university. You started BCom, eh?
Yes.
And now you're working for an engineer company. How did
Yes.
you cross over?
It's actually a funny story. So last year, when I was doing my final year in BCom, I happened to we started tutoring a lot during COVID, pro bono and also doing the job. And then at some point in time, I got really tired of it. So I thought I spoke to one of my mentors And I said to her, look, I'm getting really bored at home,
Yeah.
and I need something else to do outside of the tutoring. And she said to me, well, drop and come to the office and we'll see what you can do. And it was around about that time that one of her employees, her office manager, was going on maternity leave. And so they just threw me in the deep end. And next thing I knew, I was an office manager to a company that does a lot of tendering. Because if you're in the world of construction, then you do a lot of tendering. And that's basically what I started doing. I started doing a lot of tendering, I started doing a lot of office management. And yeah,
Now, here you are with your friends. I know you are working for an engineering company full time, and now you have your own company and you are studying full time. Tell us,
true.
how are you managing to juggle all these, three assignments?
One thing for sure is that God needs to give me more than 24 hours because it is definitely a lot. But my friends and I, Kanyisile and Melissa, started a tutoring company. The name of the tutoring company is called Triple Lotus. Triple because there's the three of us, and
Yes.
then Lotus. With regards to juggling, most days I can't. Most days I can. Some days I can't, and some days I can. I think more than anything, it's got a lot to do with the discipline because you're not always motivated to work. But if I wake up in the morning and I decide this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to do, then the juggling works out easier that way. So yeah.
And tell us about how did this triple three lotus come about? How was it born? I'm very
It
fascinated on
was
how it came about.
it was on the 22nd of October 2017. My friends and I were sitting around. I remember we were talking about how broke we were, and we were basically just really tired of being broke. And we thought, you know what? Let's start a company, guys. Let's start a company. Let's start something. Let's go out there and do something. But we didn't have an idea of what we would do. So what we
Yeah.
decided to do was that in the past week, on the day we met, on the past week, I had just been learning about how to register a company on CIPC and we thought, guys, you know what, let's just register the company. That's us planting the seed. We'll water it as we go. And
Yes.
so just like that, on the 22nd of October 2017, we started Triple Lotus. We had no idea on what this business would be. It could have been a financial advisory thing. It could have been a school. It could have been anything. But on that day, we had no idea what we were going to do. And so, fast forward a couple of months down the line, Melissa was doing her final year at school and she needed to cover her fees in order for her to graduate. And so she started tutoring around her community. So, one thing about Melissa is that she's a teacher at heart. We're all education enthusiasts, but Melissa is a teacher.
Yes.
And so she started tutoring kids around her community. And at some point in time, look, the one child was telling the next child, and the next child was telling the next child, and things started getting out of hand for her.
Spreading like wildfire.
Yeah. So she calls us and she says, you know what, guys, we're going to have to share these kids because I can't do this. I can't do this alone. And we thought, okay, cool. Just give us the details and we'll jump on. And that's when we realized this is the business we've been trying to open. This is it. This is what it's going to become. And that's how Triple Lotus was born.
So through the word of mouth, Triple Lotus is now, a big brand. And tell us, what grades are you tutoring?
We
What
tutor
from?
grade
Sorry.
1 till varsity. Look, if it's a subject, if it's in a school, then you'll find it at Triple Lotus. Yes.
Melissa, it's not easy to start a company, and yet alone for young, professionals like you guys. Where did you get the capital from to start this business?
We actually didn't need capital when we started because, look, if you're tutoring, all you need to be able to do is to travel from one place to the other, you know. And at that time, we could afford to. So if you make it to your first lesson, you have enough money to make it to the next lesson, and. I think the time when we started needing capital was when we decided that we wanted to move into a building, make it official, right? And so it was at that time when we decided that we would self-fund this business while also using the money that we were using to tutor, using the money that we were getting from tutoring in order to fund this business, right? So what we did was we were starting to grow, and everyone around us was starting to want to interview us or to find out what the business is about. And because we're three Adventist ladies, I think most of the Adventist circles around us wanted to know what it is that we were doing. And it's at
Yes.
that point in time that we had to ask ourselves what it is that we're doing to help Adventists, right? And so that's when our flagship program came about, which is the Sunday school, which was back then the Sunday school program. And that's what we would have needed capital for at the time.
And the facilities, where did you get the classrooms from?
We actually had to go to a school called BEMSA, which is in Joburg CBD, because we were trying to be in a central place for everyone, you know. And now, look, students, the students in the churches that we're in are not able to go to classes on a Saturday afternoon, you know. And so we needed to provide a service for Sundays, and we needed it to be central. And so we decided that Joburg CBD would be the right place for this. And so we found a school called Bemsel, which is close to Faraday.
Lindo, I'm fascinated. I'm interested to know who is who in Triple Lotus. Who does what?
So, good question, actually, because look, just to highlight something on how we actually even got to deciding who is who.
Yes.
See, starting a business with friends is not easy, right? And our biggest challenge in Triple Lotus was having to cross over the barrier of friendship into professionalism, you know, because now we had to decide, how are we going to formalize this? How are we going to keep people accountable? And the first thing that we had to do was to decide on who was who within the business, who reports to who. So I am the operations director. I make sure that every operation within the company goes. Whatever it is that needs to, if it's a new program, if it's tutors, whatever it is that is that keeps the business going, that would be my job. And then with regards to our marketing, we have Kamisile. She's a creative bright spark, you know, so it made sense that she be in the marketing. And then Melissa, who is the reason we are even here today as a company, is
Yes.
the director. So she carries the vision of the company. And Kamisile and I make sure that whatever it is, that vision that she holds, we need to make sure that our departments meet up to the vision. So this definitely speaks into operating within your creative genius, you know, finding out what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, and being able to tap into our strengths and to give back into the business.
And now with the advent of COVID, no pandemic now, how are you managing? Or are you taking advantage of technology, virtual, classes?
Yes, I must say, as unfortunate as COVID is, it really is the best thing that has happened to Triple Lotus, you know, because it took everyone online. Everyone is working online now, and it's easier to reach. Our reach is bigger now as compared to back then, you know, because now we're able to tutor kids all around South Africa because it's online. So basically, most of our classes, if not 80% of them, are online. And we have a few door-to-door classes. But one thing for sure, COVID was genuinely the best thing that has ever happened to us as a business.
Lindo, starting with a few numbers of almost like 6, 7 community students to now you're boasting of more than 400 students. Tell us about this phenomenal growth,
I think one thing about this business is that if you offer a good service, people will come back for more. And
Yes.
people will tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends,
They
and their
refer
friends will
themselves.
tell their friends. And I think that was the advantage on our side. You know, we offered a good service, and people just kept spreading the word. And so I remember last year during COVID, as a way of giving back to our community, because there was so much uncertainty with regards to whether the students would be going back to school, especially the matrics. We decided to start a program where we offered free tutoring to students in matric last year, you know, and we had volunteers joining us and. That was another way that we were able to spread out and have more people knowing about us. And through those classes, even though they were free at the time, they were free for students for a certain amount of time until they had to go back to school. So what
These
happens
are
is
what,
now that you're going back to
underprivileged
school,
families. These are
sorry?
underprivileged students.
Yes, No. Actually, we just took on everyone. As long as you needed help at the time, you could register to join, and that's what happened. So now you go back to school, and the Triple Lotus lessons are over because the free ones are over. I think most of our students actually came from there. They realized that, you know what, that was helpful, and they joined us.
You know, the numbers actually are a sign to say that, the results are good. Tell us about the
Sure.
pass rate. What is the feedback coming from the parents or the learners, regarding the services that you are offering?
So, as a business person, I'm obliged to say that our service is good and our reviews are good. But look, the numbers speak for themselves. The amount of students that we have on our database, the amount of students that we tutor, speak into the results. So if you go onto our Facebook pages, onto our Instagram pages, you'll find reviews there. You'll find people testifying that, look, the service that we received there was good. And yeah.
And where do you see, Triple Lotus from 5 years from now? Where do you see yourselves, as the three, girls?
As the three girls in Triple Lotus, where do we see Triple Lotus in the next 5 years? We definitely see Triple Lotus branching into a school, because we're research driven. We're a company that is very research driven. We are always trying to find the best way to teach the next person, always trying to find the best way to find out as to why a student is struggling with whatever concept it is that they're struggling with, and tutoring is just it's just the tip of the iceberg in education, because you are taught in school and then tutors just make sure that you understand the concept. But now we see ourselves branching into a school so that we're able to use all the research that we've gathered over the years to be able to teach now from now the background, you know what I mean, going up. I think
I know.
that's where we see ourselves.
Yes. Lindo, I know you are passionate about, charity work, I'm more fascinated about, the humanitarian work that you are doing, in teaching physics, chemistry, and mathematics to underprivileged, students for free who are preparing for matric. Tell us more about this, good gesture.
So we have quite a few projects that we have started with regards to giving back to our community. The first one is Cosmos City. We have tutors. We're in partnership with the civil engineering company that I work with, and we have tutors that would go to Cosmos City every Wednesday and Friday. So this was all before COVID happened, COVID distraction. So what happened is that on every Wednesday and Friday, we would gather volunteer tutors, give them training, and from that we would go and help students from underprivileged backgrounds. And this is because it's not everyone that can afford academic support, and it's in those places, and it's in those spaces where we got to understand better the problems that students are facing. You know what I mean? And from there again, our research grows. Another project that we had is we used to tutor at an orphanage in Hillbrow. What we would do there again is we would go on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So we'd gather tutors from University of Wits, and from those tutors would give them training again, and then we'd take them with us to the orphanage.
And what
So
are
those
the
are the two projects that we've worked on in order to give back to the community.
what are the chances of you partnering with the government, especially the education department? I think you are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. That one, it's a very tricky one. We have tried. It hasn't been very easy to do. I think the government has focused a lot on matrics without realizing that the real problem starts in grade 9. And I think because it's very difficult to go to the government trying to bring in a program that starts in grade 9. They're much more interested in the matrics. So this is what we've gathered from all the times that we have tried to partner with them. So in the meantime, I think it's not in the pipeline for now. We are just going to have to ride the wave on ourselves.
I think that was a very good research that you guys did to say, where could be the problem for our matric students? And then you realize that, nip them in the bud from grade
Yes.
8, 9, where they are basics. That's where they're supposed to catch those concepts. And I'm glad that,
True.
you identified that, age group. so that by the time they go to grade 12, at least they've got the concept grasp.
Yes.
Okay, Lindo, thank you so much. Before we conclude this program, as usual, a final word from you and your friends, what words of encouragement do you want to share with our viewers, especially young people like you who want to start business, or some of them who cannot get jobs because of COVID pandemic, companies are closing, it's hard to get employment. What words of encouragement do you want to share with our people so that they too can use their hands in trying to create employment and also putting food on the table?
I actually sat down with my partners today to try and find out what it is that we wanted to tell people today. And I think based on our experience, the first answer we came up with is look, just start. You know, start where you are, start with what you have. You starting is you planting the seed. The watering, you'll see that as you go. So start where you are, start with what you have, and just go with it. The second thing, do your research. A good business is a business that solves a problem. There's problems all around us. When you look into your genius, which everyone has, you will realize that look, this problem is something that I can solve or not, right? So by doing your research, you're able to find the different problems that are within your community, and then by finding a solution, that could be a business idea.
Lindo Nyembe, thank you so much for being our guest here tonight on Hands On. And to our viewers at home, we hope you were inspired by this a small interview whereby young people are taking the bull by the horns in trying to create employment and also to leave a legacy for their loved ones. Until we meet again next week at the same time when we bring you yet another guest. God bless you all and good night.